All right. Good evening, Pure Officiating Virtual Study Groups. It is April 6th, 2021. It's 7 o'clock Central Time. My name is Daniel Young, and joining us on the virtual study group session tonight, we've got Tuta Salam, Corey Luxner, and Brandon Cruz, and we are excited about tonight. Got some awesome plays lined up. Going to work through some visual mechanics and some other really cool stuff. So how's everybody doing tonight? Corey, Brandon, Tuta, everybody feeling good?
Absolutely. Full of energy. Let's do this.
I can feel it. I can feel it. All right. Any announcements before we get started, Tuta?
Oh, don't let him start.
No, but I'm eating granola, so I don't want to be chewing in people's ear.
Oh, okay. Well, so then I'll just get on my soapbox first tonight, since that's what we do about people eating while they're. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's go. Watch some football.
Daniel, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to be here. Golly, we are so. I mean, hope we don't ever kind of get into a rut doing this. I hope the community doesn't ever find this monotonous or mundane, because I'm sitting here like, golly, we are so fortunate to be able to just kind of engage in this on a weekly process with everybody out there in the community, and of course with you three guys. This is really cool. We're fortunate, so I'm fired up tonight.
We're going to have a poll on this play coming up, and we'll talk about penalty enforcement because we got a little bit sideways here, but we got it right, whatever. But Daniel, as you watch the play and it'll loop and everything like that from the back judge position, don't worry about the poll quite yet. You guys can look at the poll if you want, but I want to talk about, Daniel, just working this play, receiver at the hash, and then watch just the body language of the receiver and the contact. And what do you notice? And this is not a normal type of KCI, category.
Well, before we even get into KCI, there's nothing normal about. I've never seen a punt play like this. I don't have 50 years of experience, but this is one of the things I love about football is I have worked a lot of snaps and a lot of punts, and we can still see things almost yearly, maybe even game by game, that are like, wow, I've never seen that before. This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I mean, from them coming out of the huddle until the end of the play, it's so, I'm sure, it's got great logic behind it. It's just really unique. So the first thing, as a back judge, this guy looks so calm, cool, and relaxed, like he's seen this exact punt a million times. I'm really impressed with his body language. But I'd be kind of sitting back there on the goal line thinking like, okay, is it a fake? Is he going to run? What's happening here? I'm supposed to change my attention or switch my attention to the punt returner once the ball comes off the foot and I have an idea where it's going. Well, the ball's not coming off the foot. He's just kind of holding it. So already I think it's reasonable to be a little bit thrown off here. Mm-hmm. But getting to your original question, this is really unique KCI. And what's unique about it is that the receiver, the punt returner, really kind of initiates this contact by trying to pursue the ball. The kicking team player, the team A player, has turned around and he's looking for the ball to down it too, where we're very used and comfortable to seeing the kicking team player run to the punt returner and either just not stop fast enough or then the punt returner run into him because he doesn't know the ball. The kicking team player doesn't know the ball's behind him. But this is just really unique looking. So I think it's a great play for us to break down and talk about why this is or is not KCI.
Well, let's put a parallel. A lot of times we like to, parallel different parts of the game. So when we have tangled feet on pass interference, what do we say about tangled feet on pass interference?
That's a great analogy. So tangled feet, pass interference, if the wide receiver is looking back for the ball and the defender is not looking back for the ball and their feet tangle, well, that is a foul for DPI not playing the ball. Mm-hmm. If the wide receiver is not playing the ball and the defender is also not playing the ball and their feet get tangled and they go down, that's not a foul for DPI. If the wide receiver is playing the ball and the defender is playing the ball and their feet get tangled, that also is not a foul for DPI. So catch me up. Where are you going here on this one?
Well, I was going to point out that really doesn't apply to this concept. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's great.
So the whole thing about incidental contact, which I think is really interesting on this play. I know not everybody may think it's really interesting, but I certainly do. I think that it is something that we want to understand. Doesn't, the contact, incidental or not, really, what are you looking for in terms of where the receiver's position, the kicking team, what they're doing? It's not just about, the nature of the contact is my point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the point you're trying to make is really valid because of the uniqueness of this contact. But I would also suggest that almost all KCI contact is incidental. Right. I shouldn't say almost all. A lot of KCI contact is incidental because we'll have them, kind of break that 1 yard halo and end up just bumping our returner, or just kind of not know he's there. They're looking for the ball and they just run into him. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, a lot of it is incidental. But what is unique about this is he really isn't even concerned with the returner. He just turns around to find the ball. But here's the thing, by rule, we're going to give the returner a clear path to make an unimpeded opportunity to catch the punt, right? So even though this contact is a little bit unique, he's in the way of the punt returner who has all the right in the world, absolutely protected, to go get in a position to field that punt cleanly. And so I think it's a really good point.
Is there any visual trick? Because I could see, let's say the ball's, I guess bouncing around is not the right, but the ball's somewhere else, for example. Timing on this play is all kind of crazy. Ball's somewhere else. And I mean, as a back judge, are you prioritizing more to follow the football with your eyes, or are you staying home here? The analogy here to another part of the game would be, the referee working the quarterback. So when the quarterback throws the ball and the ball's somewhere else, we can't just watch the ball. You see what I'm saying? We gotta see what happens to the quarterback. But as a back judge, do you watch the returner, or do you want to see what happens to the ball? Both, neither? What do you prioritize, and what are the tricks?
So when the ball's kicked, we just want to get a real quick sense of where we think the ball is going to go. And we need to get our eyes on the returner as fast as possible. And we're going to officiate him all the way through until the ball hits the ground. Now we have to change our focus because we're going to be responsible for touching. And we've all seen all kinds of punt plays where the ball touches this player, that player, then it's scooped up and somebody's running the other direction. So we're going to officiate the returner. Once the ball hits the ground, we're going to have to work the ball through the rest of the play. That's why we're really going to rely on Corey and, whoever else hasn't betrayed us and gone to the referee positions back there with us to help us out if, the ball's on the ground and we talk about the punt returner signals for fair catch and then goes on and blocks. So we'll need some support, and we need the deep wings, the field judge and side judge, to understand how we're working that play so they know when they need to support and where.
Okay. Judge punting 101, I guess, is what that was a little bit. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So looking at the poll, so we have a foul. And Daniel, how do you like this? I mean, do you like this as a foul, or do you not? I mean, you kind of gave it away.
Yeah, no, I think this is KCI. I do. I think it's a really strong call. But it did spurn some thought, and we need to be careful because we're not, right. We don't cater to the judgment crowd, and we could go down a rabbit hole here. But maybe there is a scenario where a receiver is quick thinking enough and understands the rule enough to maybe create some contact to buy a KCI. Golly, I'd be really, really careful about ever making that decision, right? It would just have to be so blatantly obvious. That's not the case here. We can see the returner is kind of up in the sky looking for the ball and making his way, towards where he thinks it's going to land. I mean, he gets it's hard to blame him, but his read on this is pretty poor. I mean, he's pretty late, but he's certainly in a position where he could have run over and got in a position to make that catch had he not ran into the kicking team player. That's my take. I don't know if that's clear and obvious to everyone, but that's where I landed on it.
Get into parallels to catchable passes. I mean, that's I love about,
right.
different categories of the game. It's like we can use other concepts, even if they're not perfectly relatable, like the tangled feet thing. I kind of put that out there to confuse you, and you didn't take the bait, which was really awesome. But I mean, we can use different other, aspects of the game and just create some consistent, at least, conversations around that. That's pretty cool. So
I was thoroughly confused.
I know. So we have a foul, and we want to be careful because I don't think I've ever seen a perfect two-way split like this in terms it's basically 3-1. 75% of us said 15 yards from the spot of the foul. It's 1st and 10 at the B25, right? So then the spot of the foul would be the B10. And then 25% of us said both options 2 and 3 are correct. So I know Corey he can't wait to tell us that everybody thinks that the spot of the foul is, in fact, part of the penalty. The question we got to ask now is, because look, a fourth of us said they have the option to go previous spot. So again, talking parallels of the game, we know that fouls by the kicking team can be enforced. And really, this isn't even close, quite honestly, because those fouls can be enforced from where the dead ball belongs to Team B or the previous spot. But there's an absolute exception in there too, Ty. I mean, isn't there? They actually call out kick-catch interference.
That's correct. And anytime the actual rule enforcement specifies how the penalty is to be enforced, then we need to follow that, and we do not follow the 3-and-1 principle or the basic spot principle or anything else in Rule 10. We need to do exactly what it says in the rule. So in Rule 6-4-1, interference with opportunity to catch a kick, the penalty specifically says for fouls between the goal lines, receiving team's ball, 1st down, 15 yards beyond the spot of the foul. So we specifically are being told exactly how to enforce this penalty. So that's what we need to do.
And then look at Rule 6.3 something.
6.3 something. Okay, I'm looking for that.
Fouls. Yeah, I don't know if something will be called out, but it's something about fouls by the kicking team, and that's that. The slang term for that rule is the tack-on rule on kicks. Yeah. That's how we all talk. And
who is we all, by the way?
Well, I don't know. You tack that on. Okay. And then
tack it on, brother.
Tack it on. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, kick-catch interference is called out in that specific rule as something that we can't apply that rule to. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I do. I'm looking for it so I can give the reference to people.
You see how I learned
13.
The rules,
it's 13 would be something, by the way. If anybody who's looking for something, don't look for something. Look for Article 13 under Rule 6-3.
6.3.13?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I don't see
fouls by the kicking team.
Yeah, I was looking for KCI, but I don't think it's listed.
Okay. There's something about this does not apply to kick-catch interference. Anyways, you see how I learned the rules? I kind of take what the rules are and then create my own terminology. You like that, huh? That's probably not the best approach. But anyways, kick-catch interference does not apply to the quote-unquote tack-on rule. It's purely spot of the foul, and that's it. I mean, that's it. So if we actually have, if we have, in this case, you would never want to think, we can basically enforce it from where the dead ball belongs to Team B. And it's foul by Team A, but it's kick-catch interference. It's got its explicit penalty enforcement, so we follow that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I think what I heard Daniel say is, wow, Daniel wrote a book over here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Penalties for fouls by the kicking team other than kick-catch interference. Yeah.
So. It's in Rule 10. I just didn't want to interrupt you guys. Y'all are grooving, so I just copy and pasted it into the chat.
Oh, you're a smart man, Daniel.
Well, let's not get carried away.
It's also in 6.3.13. It says penalty for all fouls other than kick-catch interference.
There you go. So
it sure does, Corey. I can't read. There it is. Okay.
Well, maybe if you would have looked up 6'3" something, you would have found it. But Daniel, what did you want to address on the foul?
Yeah, so I just thought about something, or not just, but you I think helped me clarify something in my head as I was working through this. You know, this same contact with a ball that's shanked into the stands, or down there at the 40-yard line that we can see right there at the numbers. Now, listen, that would not be KCI, right? Because there's got to be some element of the returner being able to, actually catch the ball. And so that could be really difficult in some instances. I don't think that it is here. I think we could all probably agree pretty easily with the kick this high in the air and him this close. I mean, he's inside or outside the hash, rather. The ball lands just inside the numbers. I think it's pretty clear and obvious that he would have the opportunity. But there is a circumstance, I think, Brandon and Tuta and Corey, where if the ball's kicked so far away from the returner, this same action may not be KCI. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
I think what I took from this play, Daniel, is that KCI is not necessarily an intentional type of action by the fouling team, whereas DPI is primarily an intentional act by the defensive team. And I think that's where Brandon was going with the incidental contact discussion. The contact does not have to be intentional contact by Team A. All it has to do is impede a player who has an opportunity to catch a kick.
Yeah, that's right. Whereas, like you said with DPI, it actually says in the rule intentional.
Oh, it does.
Or intent.
Okay.
I think his intent to impede or whatever.
Intent to impede. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
Don't let me start to break the rules down again. But I think the shift is legal. It kind of gets a red flag, Bill. I agree with you. But it's a little bit abrupt to start, but then they don't snap it right away. Everybody gets set, and then they kind of even look around. And so I'm good with the shift, even though it is weird. All this is designed to disrupt the receiving team's timing and absolutely pin them. I mean, they almost accomplished it, right?
Yeah, they almost executed.
I don't have that as an abrupt shift. That would probably, we would evaluate that from the backfield and then obviously on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. And the foul there, if that was too abrupt, the foul wouldn't be an illegal shift. I know we're just talking.
Right.
Shift.
That's right. Yep. Yep. And then there's another block that's in question.
Just end zone angle, it has a good look at it. It could be an illegal blindside block. I don't know if it's necessarily an illegal block in the back, but it could be an illegal blindside block. I think it's right around the right hash.
Yeah, about the 22.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we could easily evaluate that as an illegal blindside block, not an illegal block in the back.
Well, I mean, we can sit there and talk about if it's a foul or not. I think, this type of a weird punt like this, I mean, Brandon's talking about the shift will, delay the receiving teams and kind of mess up their timing. But on a play like this where we're expecting that ball kicked in a certain time and it's not, that's going to get up in our kitchen too and be like, okay, what's going on?
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
I'm thinking as a deep wing, I'm going to think, okay, is this a fake? And I'm taking my attention from, where I should be and looking back towards the original position of the ball, and that's going to screw me up. So, who's going to see this block? I think would be a good conversation.
Yeah, I agree. I think this much time with no threat back near the tackle box at all. Everything's downfield. Let's get our line of scrimmage people looking down there. We talk about getting them downfield in passing games. Get them downfield in this type of game too. Certainly.
A couple of weeks ago, Derek did a good job explaining to us where and when line of scrimmage officials should be transitioning downfield. Yeah,
and anybody who thinks you can work in absolutes in the kicking game, we just can't do it. We can't work in absolutes in anything. But you look at this; everybody goes downfield. Yeah. The referee and umpire in the backfield in this case can work the three players that are still at the line of scrimmage while the ball's being kicked. So everybody else needs to have their vision downfield, and then hopefully we should be able to pick up this player that basically kind of takes this cheap shot, and evaluate it for what you will. But somebody's definitely got to see that. And I would offer the line of scrimmage official on that side would probably be the best, in my opinion, to see that.
Yeah, I think so too. Corey, where are you going to be? I mean, I know you don't have necessarily a threat, but there's a lot of guys further downfield in that blocker. I mean, do you think you'd be that far inside? And
I mean, I don't know if I'd be that far inside. I think I'd be in full-on scan mode at this point. Kind of like almost treating it like the return had already started happening. I mean, just to give you kind of a basis for how I'd be thinking, because it's just the timing is so funky that I think I would just
get into our
threat.
box.
Yeah. I would just be finding a threat and trying to pick that, get involved with that. I mean, I definitely don't think I would see the KCI. I would hope I wouldn't be looking at that.
It's easier for the line of scrimmage officials with their vision to track somebody moving in that manner, in my opinion, from the middle and inside of the field than a deep official way down there on the pylon. Because then you're almost looking through and it's kind of coming at you. Whereas line of scrimmage official, you can basically sense, the track of that player going to deliver that block. And then even like referees and umpires in the backfield, if you have no other threat, sometimes those things open up to you very well as too. All right. I wouldn't get technical with the numbering exception aspect. And I know I love this. We're putting all this rule stuff in the chat now. Let's see what Bill just wrote up. Tutas, so you love to dive into these rules. What are you seeing here? We talk about numbering exceptions are locked in when the center puts his, touches the football or has his hands below his knees or something like that. But when everybody runs up to the line and gets set, I feel like that satisfies the rule. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're wrong or not, but I don't understand Bill's question, to be honest. I'm trying to figure out, like, nobody's on the line.
It's a sequencing question. So I guess the question would be, once he touches the football, very technically, then numbering exceptions are supposed to be locked in.
Okay, meaning what?
Well, meaning that you really can't shift into a numbering exception. You know what I mean?
That's what you're saying. You can't shift into a numbering exception.
When he touches the ball.
Are you saying that everybody is supposed to be on the line in their whatever position when he touches the ball to be eligible to be an exception to the numbering rule?
Very technically the rule.
I would filter this through the advantage-disadvantage lens and say that as long as they get set, and they're not trying to uncover anybody or anything like that, I don't think this is something that's necessarily creating is it unclear who's eligible and who's not here? Because that's really the whole intent of the rule, right? Well, nobody has on the 50, I think, except the dude in the middle in the shield. There's only one person that's ineligible. I mean, ineligible by number. Yeah, everybody else is pretty much ineligible by position, other than the ends on the line. But I don't know. This is not one I would ever want to have a flag down for. And I'm not saying that's Bill. I'm not saying that's what you're asking. But we would have to talk about exactly what are we doing here.
Yeah,
I would assume Coach talked about this in pregame.
And you would assume wrong.
I know. I know. I was being.
If somebody has a really good reason why that would be a foul, I'm all ears on that. I'm not saying it's not, but I would love to know the intent behind why we would get involved in something that technical.
I was about to say, put it like this: I would not want to turn on the microphone and announce anything on that. I would be really pretty upset if I had to announce something on this. I mean, nothing happened. Literally nothing happened.
Well, just from a technical perspective, since that's where we are right now, does the fact that they're not linemen until they get up on the field,
that's what I was saying.
Solve it even?
There are no linemen. Yeah.
I don't know.
In fact, there's not a 59. It was 39. There's not one player on the field in purple that has an ineligible number on.
Yeah, That's the point. So we're saying, I think what we're saying is really when 50 or whoever it was, you said 39 was a snapper, whatever the guy, the snapper is, he's very technically, guys, when he touches the football, he's on the end of the line.
He is.
You see what I'm saying?
He is.
And then
that's not legal either.
They shift to cover him, which is really.
Now I get it. Now
see what
I
I'm
get
saying?
it. Okay.
But again, spirit and intent of the rule. And we can get on these calls and we can talk all this stuff, but we're not going to manage a football game that way unless they do something with it that, I might talk to them, say, hey, what are you trying to do with that shift? Are you trying to disguise who's eligible? Just make sure that I understand what you're doing so that I don't call this wrong when you run your fake punt. I literally would say that to the special teams coach.
Yep.
In those exact words. I've said that before. I want to make sure that we officiate your fake punt correct if you're setting that up. So what are you trying to do?
Yep.
And they're happy to tell you. You see what I'm saying? So if we have any questions like that, then we should absolutely have those communication items with the coach and be very transparent. If we just go over there and say, Coach, your center is ineligible the minute he locks his or whatever is eligible, and then he's covered up, and I'm gonna get your whatever for illegal formation if you do that again. Well, that's not the way we want to officiate football.
Well, no, because now you just set up an adversarial relationship, exactly. and we don't need to have adversarial relationships with the coaches at all. We just don't want to do that.
And Bill was not implying that's what he would do.
No, I don't think he will. He was just asking a rules type question.
Yeah. And the thing is, they're not trying to disguise the eligibility of the center at all, to me. Anybody who knows anything about football and that is not confused if the center is eligible or not. If the center goes out for a pass, it's a foul, right? No questions asked. So I don't see anything unless I'm missing a very technical aspect of the rule where I would get involved the minute I see that. I would definitely ask a question, though. I think that's a great discussion. And maybe our umpires can geek out more about that, huh? Okay, let's go. So good umpire play, good stuff. Let's go again in this game, same game, and we're going to loop this play real quick. So watch, and now no poll, but let's just do chat poll. This is, I'm going to new topic or new what am I trying to say?
Approach.
New concept, new approach to that chat poll. Whatever position you're working tonight, whatever you want to work on this play, work it and tell us where you'd be looking when the video freezes. And I think we'll do it again. I was going to be hard, but we'll do it again. So whatever position you're, and probably if you're working referee, umpire, or center judge, you're out, or just work a different position because this is really more in the passing game mechanics. But where are you looking? I mean, where are you looking when the video freezes based on your position? And so let's just see what we're.
Is the first half the line judges at the top of the screen for everyone's.
That's right. Good point. Line judges at the top of the screen. When you put a letter in, it's going to be helpful if you also include your position, just so we know. So, like if it was, remember I said I was only going to do. I'm only going to let them see it three. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna do it again. So line judge, field judge at the top. Where are you looking when the video freezes? Okay, so we're seeing E. So back judge looking at B. Back judge B. Somebody said D, but we're not sure about the position. Put your position in, folks. E, because like if you're the back judge and you're looking at E, we got a bit of an issue. So we're just not sure. Back judge. So side judge S. C working. Okay, working S, you're looking at C, H, C, line judge D. This is a blast. Field judge E, H, C. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep it going. This is really awesome. This is why we quantify the room, by the way, in a more analytical way. F, J, eyes on E. Back judge B and C. That's an interesting one. Side judge A, L, line judge D. Field judge E, field judge E, field judge E, field judge E, line judge D, head line judge C. Okay? Awesome.
How do you feel about your experiment so far?
I love it.
Okay.
You don't like it? Line judge C.
I think it's great.
So we've got some confusion. So now let's go with the whole play. And, we had some differences, right, from the line of scrimmage and the back judge, and I think that's the point. So let's start back judge, Daniel. At the snap, you had trips-ish to your left, right side of the offensive formation.
Yeah, I think that's the line judge's side. We're going to end up with trips because we've got this tight end and then this wing back and then the number one receiver split way out wide. So our initial key is going to be just from a strict mechanics manual definition is the tight end, number 96. But we've talked about this a ton. Whenever he is that close to that wing back, we should have our eyes on both of those guys at the snap and officiating them as they come off the line. Because of the way that these routes are run, where they're almost kind of stacking each other, it makes all the sense in the world for the back judge, who is going to be stationary based upon where we're snapped under the goalpost. I think we're in a great position to see B and C in our field division at this point in time. And also because we're going to be able to see that B, who is our initial key, 96, really doesn't have a defender anywhere close to him. I think we're going to have – so one of the things I like to do is just map the defensive secondary in my head before the ball is snapped. So as the tight end takes off and goes straight, when I see this wingback kind of stem inside, I'm going to know that there was a linebacker or a walk-down safety in that space. So I think it's very reasonable for the back judge to be working B and C at the time that we pause the video, like right now.
Okay, very good. So that was a really good breakdown. Corey, obviously from either deep wing, I think we can get through that pretty quick.
Well,
if you're at the top,
the top field judge is easy.
Okay. Side judge, talk to me about the side judge. You got number 22 here coming inside.
Yeah, okay. So the side judge is a different animal than the field judge. And this is where, if you're looking to grow as a deep wing, this is something I highly recommend you do. If my key out wide like that, who's unthreatened, he just takes a straight line, straight to the inside, I immediately try to pick up, okay, what's coming from the other direction? And because I know on these type of crossing patterns, this type of stuff happens. So I would fully expect myself to see both A and C, and probably be looking more at C than A, because I want to see how that, those three players end up interacting. A is either going to pick the guy, or C is either going to pick the guy, or it's going to be a clean cross and we move on and play football. So in this type of situation, as this play presented itself, I would expect myself to identify this foul and have a flag down. And it's just something that I started doing a few years ago, that when that guy goes inside, I look ahead of him to see what else is coming back the other way.
Yeah, because what's going to happen to 22 right now? I mean, he's not going to get held. If anything is going to happen, he's going to go pick that guy. And if you're prioritizing the defense, like I'm hearing you say, that's a pretty good approach. I think that ups your odds of seeing more detail on these types of actions. That's pretty impressive.
100%. If you see, because part of OPI is you have to see, how did that contact happen? Did the defender come and engage the offensive player, or was it vice versa? We have to know that type of information. So the more that you can kind of have that wider vision on a play like this, you're going to see all of that type of detail.
And I think I've mentioned this before, Corey, that's exactly what I like to do when my key starts to run that inside, that shallow drag, is to try to find those linebackers and watch them, because that really helps with me. Let me also just add from the back judge perspective, so just so we're clear, we're not playing the results here. If B encounters a threat early in this route, say the 15-yard line, and stems out a little bit, or maybe even curls up, maybe if he curls up, we're okay. But if he stems out, we're going to have to follow him, and we may not always be able to officiate both B and C. I just wanted to make sure it's clear that I think based upon the routes and the defense that we see in this case, we can officiate B and C. I don't know if that was clear, so I wanted to throw that in.
You're just saying you're looking through, and there's no threat right here around this B area.
Sure.
And so that allows you to really
Yeah.
Here. Okay, let's go to the line of scrimmage. What would we expect? Talk line judge. So that as a Daniel, like as a back judge, the line judge is helping you out potentially with these two players, correct?
Right. Exactly right.
Okay, cool. So, what we want to be sure that we get in the habit of is not looking at this guy from this position. And why would that be? It's like we've talked about it a million times, but we got new people, and look, we're still doing it in all our games. We point out areas where we're still doing it. All of us at every position are doing this. Not that this line judge did this, but we had people in the chat say, I'd be law and D if I'm the line judge. Why? Simply, why would we not?
There's no threat around that player. So, it would be more optimal for us to identify another area where there could be a potential for a foul instead of watching a player who has no potential for being fouled or for fouling anyone else.
Now, certainly, if let's just say, see the player 74 is blocking right here?
Yep.
If that player reaches out and grabs this back as he's trying to get out here like he does, we got to be on that from the line judge position, because there's going to be nobody else potentially that can see that.
But I think that's a good point, because we tend to talk in absolutes.
I know it.
And this play changes.
Yes.
Originally, would you watch the back? No, because there's nothing happening while he's in the backfield by himself. But you have to have an idea of where he is. As he gets close to the edge where the defender is, like you mentioned, you better have an idea if he gets grabbed or not. Then after he clears the defender and gets into space again, well, now you don't have to worry about him anymore for a little while until something else happens.
Yep.
So you really have to bounce your eyes and your vision and your focus all over the place, depending on how the play develops.
Yeah, you guys know more about this. Is this in your peripheral vision? I know none of us are, astute line of scrimmage officials, but you guys watch players in motion. We all watch players in motion from every position. So as you process this, and you might not even say to yourself, okay, my back is good. If you say that to yourself before you transition out here, it's too late. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what is the subconscious process, or how do you develop the ability to say, and it's, again, you're not even saying it because that's too slow, but to just actually perform and be like, okay, I'm off this and now I'm on this.
Well, back up, Brandon. I think we also have to understand what everyone else is doing, and we have to have an idea of where the rest of the players are on the field. And I think this is a crew of 7. We got trips to that side. So we got to know that our referee is going to be working primarily or prioritizing the tackle on the trips side on that crew of 7. So if I'm the line of scrimmage official at the top, then I probably, if I have to decide, am I going to work the back or work something else? I probably would not work the blocks that are developing in the backfield. I will go find something else to work. So I would need to know that before the back gets into space around the 15-yard line. So then I know where I'm going to go if this happens, where I'm going to go if this happens.
You also got to know that you've got this back and you've really got a receiver key kind of stack situation here. Yep. So the second that the back comes your way, we always say, if somebody's going, somebody's coming.
Yep.
In this case, it was this player who's going this way, which means this player is coming this way.
Yep.
So if somebody's going, we gotta almost be thinking too that we have other people that can watch if there's a threat. But like we've been saying, there's no threat here. So when we pause the video, that's why we would hope we have whoever's working this position, doesn't even matter if you're like we would want not to be watching right here and already be transitioned out to here.
Honestly, I think I would like H to be looking in area C as well, because H is not going to work the back all the way on the opposite side of the field.
That's exactly what we need to really all, no matter what mechanics, crew of whatever, maybe not 5, but crew of 6, 7, 8, put the umpire on a spaceship. Right. I don't even care.
Right.
Line of scrimmage guy at this position, use this play. Because you have to get this foul.
Got to.
Have to. Everybody else is talking great, But what if every other receiver is threatened? Yep. At this exact point, right here, this man could be threatened. This man could be threatened. This man really is threatened. This man could be threatened or involved in something else. If that's the case, the only chance is for the headline judge to be officiating this.
That's correct.
You know, and put this on the 50, put this in the red zone, everywhere. And I know, Corey, you probably can see, forget about 4 matchups, you can probably see 8 matchups. But if you're locked in on 22 being grabbed, you're not going to see what's going on at C. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely not. That's why I said if my guy is unmolested like he is here,
there you go.
I can do that. If my guy's, coming in, he's fighting off press coverage, there's no chance I get this.
Yep. So we're applying the same principles at every single position, but our insurance policy is that headline judge all over this. And by the way, is that the headline judge's initial key? Is that his key? Hey, it's not my guy, Tuta. What the heck are you talking about? You see what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
But we're transitioning. It's a dynamic play, and we adjust. And we if the back goes out there, you have to know that the line judge, if threatened, will pick up D. Line judge, you don't need to be on D because he's unthreatened. Headline judge, if you're not on D, you are on C. No ifs, ands, or buts about it on this type of route combination. All right.
And here's where we can't be absolute either, Brandon. Let's say that C matchup doesn't exist.
Sure.
And there's nothing right there. Then maybe that headline judge needs to be helping on those blocks where we have a potential hands to the face going on, a potential grab, a hold going on. Then maybe the headline judge can work that as well. But these plays are so dynamic, and that's why we can't just say this is my key. I get so aggravated when we don't realize that keys are number one, they're initial. They're keys at the snap, and number two, they go away really quickly a lot of times.
Yeah, so what happens, obviously, the punchline, which you've all figured out by now, we really don't even care. Punchline is clear and obvious OPI, which was called by the line judge from here and the back judge from here, but curiously not from the headline judge position. So just something that pops out as you're watching your own video and you get your plays, foul or no foul, right? We don't care, but where did we cover the play properly? Great job by the line judge to open up his vision to get this, and the back judge. Curious why the headline judge wouldn't call this. So we're going to have 2 flags on this, Daniel, and we're going to pat ourselves on the back. And what are we going to do? CC, move on. This is an opportunity for the crew to grow. We just got to take it. You know what I mean?
That's right. Great point.
All right.
What else went on in this play?
Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's talk. This is really interesting too. And I know we had a KCI question that we didn't address, so we'll get back to that. This is like my favorite play of the week. So remember, it's 3rd and 11. This is all the same play. Draw this up. So the line to gain is the 5. Okay, 3rd and 11. And we're going to the 5, and we've seen the play by now, so this one isn't going to have the freeze, I don't believe. But what's the result of the play? What do you see as the result of the play? Look at that. He's short. The 5 is the line to gain. Fortunately, we have a big line, so he's short, and we've got 2 flags. We've got OPI, and then you know what else happens that I don't know how well it shows here? Unfortunately, the number 22 kicks the guy almost, you can see it a little. He kicks him, and then they get really into a situation where we have unsportsmanlike conduct, and it was correctly called. So look, what's the headline judge doing? I'm not real sure. He's at the 7. Like, is that okay? So I don't know what the 7 has to do with it. Is that his spot? I mean, it could be, but the spot was closer to the 5. It was really the 6. Maybe that's his spot. The line judge is in here reporting his foul, and that's appropriate. So the question would be, who really has the spot? Who knows the result of the play? You see where I'm going with this, because then, what we end up with is the umpire has the football right here. So to me, that's body language. Like, it's almost a foregone conclusion. We're going to mark this off. The ball should really be at the result of the play somewhere up here at closer to the 6. And so I just feel like we're a little bit confused, which, trust me, I've been there. I've absolutely been there. But with us holding the ball in this conference, did we really give ourselves a chance, to process this properly? Because if it's 4th and 1, and then we've got a dead ball UNS unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe Team B wants 4th and 16. And we didn't, we walked off 30 yards of penalties, which I don't know. I'm not a coach. I mean, that's probably putting the other team at a pretty good disadvantage, walking off 30 yards and replaying the down, but it was going 3rd going to 4th. So perhaps a consideration would be made to ask the team, do you want 4th and 16 or 3rd and, what would it be? 41, I guess it would be. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you expect maybe to have a football down at the dead ball spot as we're trying to process all this? Is that old school? What do you guys think?
I think we need to have somebody there. Maybe don't have to have a ball down. I think, it would look sharp if you do it that way. That's the field judge can come in and hang out there to make sure. But I think we got to have some point of reference, because I'm not a referee, but can that help your process to look down and see, okay, that's where the result of the play, that's where we're at? Does that kind of stuff help you or no?
It does. Honestly, it does. Because sometimes officials stand around when they're not involved, which is fine. What else are you going to do? But some type of active signal. And I agree, it doesn't necessarily have to be a football, but when a ball is down in this case, especially like when it's tight to the line to gain, I do really feel like that helps.
Right. And so for all of you non-referees out there, if one of your goals is to help your referee look good, those little things really make a difference. So, I don't agree with Brandon at all. If you have nothing to do, what should you do? There's always something to do.
There's always something to do. Yeah. Tutai, where are you at on putting the ball on the ground in this situation? Is that helpful to you, or are you past that? Maybe you're too good.
I literally don't even have the awareness of that, to be honest. But
really? Okay.
What I hope to have the awareness is was that a first down? And that's what I try to ask the result of the play. And I don't necessarily look at the ball, because I don't have that kind of awareness, I guess. But when I'm talking to an official, I like to always know, okay, well, what happened on the play? So was he short? Did he make the first down? If that information is not voluntarily offered by the official with the flag, I like to try to ask that question.
So again, this is a great play to use. You can use it as visual mechanics. You can talk about the enforcement. What are we going to do? The result of the play is 4th and 1. Forget about the flags. The result of the play is 4th and 1. We've got a live ball foul and a dead ball foul, both on the offense. How do we want to process through that as a crew, And look, maybe they did. I have no idea. Maybe they did. It just appeared to me that perhaps nobody had the spot, and the Team B coach was like, yeah, move them back. That could be. He might just be pointing back. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board. I'd absolutely want it out at the 46. So wins at their back. I have no idea. But again, who cares about the result? Let's get these process steps down, and just food for thought as you either watch your own games or other games to say, are we getting it right for the right reason, or are we just kind of coasting through things and maybe getting lucky?
So Brandon, this is one where you would look to the Team B coach and give one of those fake multiple preliminary signal deals, and then give the old decline or accept or point deal to try to get his attention and ask him what he wants, right?
You know what I'm gonna be honest about here? You're not gonna handle 2 fouls, a decision from a coach on 2 fouls.
No, I'm ignoring the UNS. We're gonna enforce the UNS anyway. Who cares about the UNS? Don't even worry about it. Only the OPI is the only one that matters. The UNS is dead ball. We're gonna do that anyway.
It is dead ball. But it's like he might decide to decline the OPI because it's 4th out anyways. They're pushing them back 15.
Right.
For 4th and 16. So, I guess to me.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I didn't know if we were going to ask the community what their opinion was.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. Type it up in the chat. I'm just saying, look, absolutely. Enforcing 30 yards of penalties from the previous spot is going to get him out of field goal range. No question about it. So that might be what they want, but maybe they don't. I mean, maybe,
it's 0-0 kicker.
Yeah. Or the wind's in their face. I mean, It could be. Think about this. It's fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go. It's a 4-point game. Who cares about field goal range?
Yeah.
They want 4th and 16, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe they want 3rd and a country mile. I have no idea. But, just something process-wise that we should really pick up on.
Yeah, I think you made the point. I think the point that you made, though, is we need to be able to process that and realize that instead of just automatically just going into penalty enforcement mode and saying, oh, we'll push it back. We need to make sure that we realize they have an option here, and we need to give them the option.
Yeah, I think, I'm sure we got to the right result here, but that's not always what this thing is about. And too often, all we focus is on that.
Yep.
Okay, what else? It's funny how this is a quote-unquote nothing play. Clear and obvious OPI, 2 flags, nailed it. UNS nailed it. And just little things that I think to myself, man, I just wonder if I'm on the field, am I processing all this stuff too tight? I mean, am I really processing all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't ask me because I'm scarred. We had a play this year that we didn't process all of it, and we just went too fast, and we got to the right place, just like this one. We got to the right place, but we didn't do it. We didn't get there in the right way. So, yeah, I'm not always aware, and I don't want to say but as a crew, we all just have to be aware that there are options on a lot of these penalties, and we need to make sure that we really think about the options.
Yeah. And by the way, the video doesn't show all the UNS stuff. That was kind of cut out. There was a big dust up as a result of him kind of not kicking really kicking toward him, I would say. But yeah. Okay. All right. Where are we at? Anything else on this play?
No, but on the previous play, Daniel, you want to talk about? We had a question we didn't.
We had our chat moderator went back and we had a question about. We talked about enforcing. We talked a lot about how we enforce the KCI. In fact, we even copy and pasted from the rule book into the chat about how we enforce KCI. But one of the questions, or the question that came up, was when we have KCI and targeting. So I think this is an appropriate scenario, Brandon, for you to revisit how we end up with a foul with targeting or a foul and targeting, and how that could potentially affect the enforcement. Does that question make sense for you?
Kind of. So if we have targeting with that KCI, I mean, we're still going to enforce the KCI. We're basically enforcing the KCI penalty because we'd go spot. That'd be more advantageous.
So
targeting would not be a spot foul in this case.
So then what about, I think the scenario Michael was getting at is let's have a KCI and we've got a ball that's loose, right? KCI and targeting against that occurs to the returner. And then team A ends up, or team B rather, ends up picking up the ball and returning the ball for, a 6-yard return. Now we have an option with how we end up you see what I'm saying, versus spot of the foul versus into the run with the targeting.
Sure. So then you can always tack that targeting on.
Right.
It's quite frankly, it's 2 separate fouls, and I know that's not a popular opinion.
That's where I was.
Yeah, but it really is. I mean, you've got the KCI aspect, and you've got the with targeting aspect, and you can announce it that way, or you can announce it 2 separate fouls. My opinion would be, if you're going to enforce it from the KCI spot, go ahead and you can just say kick catch interference with targeting, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Weber State, play is under review, because KCI is going to be there anyway. The KCI is never going away. If you end up with 2 separate enforcement spots where you can actually enforce the targeting from a more advantageous spot relative to the advantageous would be relative to team B, obviously, then I would almost go into where you would almost say that, you would actually accept the targeting penalty from that end of that play where the dead ball belongs to team B, and so-called tack it on like we talked about earlier.
Right. I feel like it's you that I've heard talk about that, because I think we just naturally went to that, roughing the passer with targeting. And sometimes that's most appropriate, but really a lot of times it's and in this scenario we laid out with this KCI, really it's KCI and targeting.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And that's really only material. It's irrelevant if there's not a spot to enforce the targeting from. Then we're just trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Sure. Very good. Okay, cool. Good stuff.
All right. And if that, I don't know if that made sense or not, but that, that's why we're here, is to discuss things. Do you think we claim to have all the, I hope we don't. We don't have the answers. We actually probably pose more questions and then try to navigate those questions just through our experiences. You see what I'm saying? And not even our experience necessarily, but our training almost that comes out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking. All right. Okay, what do we have here? So we talk about OPI, Tutas. So this is an interesting play. No Paul. So one thing to really note is just the mechanics of the back judge, which is just excellent all the way around. But why don't you break down what you're seeing?
Yeah, man. I was so this is late in the game too. So this is 1:43 left in the game. I think the team on offense was driving to attempt to take the lead, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a really big play. This is obviously we're late in the game. We've had a bunch of plays. Our brain is probably tired, but just tremendously strong work by the back judge. He had a flag down for OPI. You can see him immediately throw his flag, come in, have a conversation with the line of scrimmage official. Of course, we would assume that he's asking him, where was that pass caught? The line of scrimmage official, great job as well. I think this crew really, honestly, this whole game was very strong. Line of scrimmage officials probably told him it was caught beyond the line. So then back judge stepped out, gave a really strong preliminary signal, reported his foul to the referee. This play was added just to show how great these mechanics were by the back judge. And I think we should get Corey involved, since he's the OPI ninja, and maybe just have a discussion about the action we actually see. It's the number 2 receiver at the bottom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I gotta, sit here and admire this, this great Big Sky officiating, and just, because it is the best in the country.
Okay, Corey. All right. That's enough of that.
Hang on. Okay. So let me get back on point here, but this is absolutely, this is as good as it gets. This is as good as I would hope to work a play like from a mechanic standpoint. Right. And I know I fall short in doing this type of stuff. So, under control, goes and gets all the information, because, while we have a good idea, it's downfield and beyond. We got to make sure, and it just really, really looks good. It looks like he is in control of the entire situation. So now from a foul standpoint, obviously we're looking, in that number 2, it's from the sideline view, we see that receiver just charges right into a defender that has established position. So we see that, but okay, OPI is not one of those fouls that we can immediately throw, because we need more information, and there is that 2-step process. So we see that, then we've got to find, okay, what is the status of the ball? Mm-hmm. Is there a delay? We can still have a significant delay in OPI and still have a foul for OPI, but which isn't the case here. But once we piece that together, I think it's number 80 that charges off, maybe it's 88, charges off, drives through that defender, and then the number 1 receiver runs a dig pattern right underneath that. That's exactly what that number 2 guy was trying to do, was to clear that spot, and the back judge was dialed in where he needed to be. He made a cool, just very calm call on the play. And for you back judges, side judges, anybody that has a receiver out there, so line of scrimmage as well, this is how you want to adjudicate an OPI foul. You can't get better than this. And
look how strong he looks, Corey. When he gives that preliminary signal to the referee, does anybody have any doubt that he knows what he's doing? Nope. Like, why would you question him at all?
None whatsoever.
I mean, that's just tremendous work. And look at the field judge as well. The field judge just immediately went cover the flag. I mean, this crew really is working a really dynamite process on this play, which is just a nothing play, honestly. It's just one play out of 100 and however many, 80 or whatever they had in this game.
It's just how things are done in the Big Sky, too. That's all I got to tell you.
But, this doesn't just happen by accident or luck. They're really working every play like this is my guess. And I'm sure they weren't perfect. None of us are. But, boom, we have this. And just look at how this works. And it flows. It's great preparation. It really is great preparation.
Even look at the umpire there. He's ready to mark it off whichever way he's going. He is standing ready to go. Just waiting to hear what we got. I mean, that's it'd be great to put the crew efficiency exercise to this one to see how quickly they got this one.
Great point.
From the time we had the foul to when we got going, because this is a group 2. How do you group these out, Brandon?
This would be a play type 2 because it's a live ball foul. It's not a simple dead ball foul. It's a simple live ball foul. So what we're saying is how long does it take us to get into the announcement from the time the ball is dead? And then how long does it take us to basically from when we start our announcement to below the next ready for play? And it's just really strong. You already tell how efficient the umpire is. He knows what's going on.
I was going to jump on that, Brandon.
Yeah.
He's right there listening. He already has the ball, whether he has the ball or not. We talked about that last week. That's irrelevant. But he's right there listening. Right. He sees the penalty, going to the previous spot. Look, and then he's communicating with the head line judge, who's probably already in the previous spot. Man, look how great this is. He's giving the 3. Now he's going to go mark it off. Look, the referee's still making an announcement. By the time the referee gets back to where he is, and he can wind the clock up and we can go. Yeah. And the back judge is clearly coming in to just confirm with his line of scrimmage official that the ball was touched beyond the line of scrimmage. Yep.
Because, and that's a really good practice. Throw it. And I think we talked on that, but throw the football. I'm sorry, the football's thrown. Throw your flag. Throw your flag.
Throw it and ask.
And then if you have any doubt, go ahead and ask. Was that pass touched beyond or behind the line of scrimmage? Very simple. Look how quick that is. Boom, preliminary signal brings a tear to your eye, Tutak.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is the opposite of of intentional grounding, where intentional grounding, you ask and then you throw.
Yeah.
With OPI, we throw and then we ask. And I mean, this is textbook. So it really is. And so Brian asked the question, as a deep wing, would we expect to see this? And the absolute answer is yes, because if I don't think the number 1 receiver had any type of coverage on him at all. So in that case, they're so close to one another that there's no reason that we can't widen our vision and pick up both of these. So, to be perfectly honest with you, it probably would have been better to have 2 flags down on this. But it's a good thing that back judge had at least 1.
Yeah. And I can tell why the back judge, Daniel, would be asking is because the body mechanics of the receiver, he's kind of jumping back towards the line.
Yeah.
So I think he was probably pretty sure. You can already tell he knows what he's got. But good to confirm. I just think this is great crew mechanics and good point, Corey, on the efficiency.
So, Brandon, we talk about growing. And people are probably going to say, man, what is this thing's problem? But if I'm a back judge on this play, you said he probably already knew, and I'm sure he did know that, this is probably beyond. One thing that I started working on, I would say late in my career as a side judge, because my career as a side judge is probably over, but I started paying attention and trying to realize where was the line of scrimmage so that even if, let's say for some unknown reason, the line judge just got lost or something and didn't know, then I know where that line of scrimmage was. And I know, okay, this dude touched the ball by the big line. We were 2 ticks behind the big line to snap the ball. Then I know exactly what this is. And I can work this penalty by myself if needed. And that's a small thing as a back judge. I don't want us to say, okay, we're patting this dude on the back. He's great. And then if he just stops there and say, well, shoot, I'm great. I don't need to do anything else. No, you can always find a little area to grow in a little bit at a time. And that's one way you can grow.
Yeah. And I guess on the same token, line of scrimmage official should almost expect that this question's coming.
He better expect it. Absolutely.
As the right foot of the receiver, and I know it's not about the foot, but I don't care. You get one shot in this in real time. Right foot comes down 1 yard beyond the line.
That's right.
Okay, I know the ball was touched 2 to maybe 3 yards beyond, but the right foot comes down, and all of this happens in continuous motion, just like the video is playing, but you only get one shot. So line of scrimmage official, just be prepared to own this as well.
And Brandon, the really thing, I know I made mention of it before, but the really cool thing is this is a minute 43 in the fourth quarter of a very tight ball game where really everything matters. So, a lot of times those stressors really mess with our mental game a little bit. And we really could get thrown off mentally when we're stressed over like serious situations like this. So just really great job by the crew.
And it's a rivalry game, in-state rivalry game. I mean, there's all kinds of things going into this. So. I think they call it the Battle of the Domes. I mean, it's not the most
you would know.
I wasn't in our league when I was there, but it's not the most creative rivalry game in the world. But
like the Iron Skillet.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, good play. I love that play. My favorite play in a while, honestly. Actually, play 2.
You said play 2 was, Brandon.
It was. I'm prisoner of the moment.
Exactly.
Jeez, come on.
So, Ron had a statement about timing.
Go ahead.
Mr. Clock, Corey is the number 1 clock man in the world. Check out Ron's statement about the timing, Corey.
I love this.
Oh, there you go. Yep. I mean,
Let me put it back up.
So we had who was behind in the score? I guess I didn't know that. So Idaho's
Let's
down.
put it back up.
Yes, the team that is ahead. The team that is behind fouled. Not
which
the
team is which, Corey? Which team is which?
Idaho's in white. So Idaho State's the home team in the dark. They're the Bengals. So they have kind of like the old school Cincinnati Bengals helmet. Or I guess it's still the same.
So the team behind committed OPI?
Yes.
The team behind it, yep. So they can wind it up on the ready.
Yeah. Good point. That's easy to miss. To miss.
Absolutely.
And it's like under 2, we get a lot of communication rolling around. If this occurred outside of 2, I don't think I would. Well, that's another story for another day because I've actually never mind. Under 2 for sure, no questions asked. Good point. Virtual study groups, love it. That's why that's why it's a crew, right? Because if one person had to remember every single thing, we're never going to get it all. Okay, here we go. Interesting play here. Watch the replay. So you're going to see the referee announce tip ball. Okay, and then watch the replay where the first of all, is quarterback down? Is he not? Right. And then boom, right off the shoulder of the offensive lineman. You can see that clearly. So now what do we have here? Check out the poll. What statement best fits this action? And then
we need to look at the player coming in motion, Brandon. Make sure so people understand. There is holding action by the defender who is covering the player who came in motion, and we'll see it on the line feed. So line feed.
No, that's all right. It's a little bit obscured by the what do you call that? The lower third. Like where they have the score. No, well, the bug is. This is like a ribbon, I guess. But, yeah, watch. The player comes in motion, and then he's going to – right at the top of his route, he gets grabbed, okay?
Yep.
So then what basically the statement which best fits this action is what? And let's just let the video loop. You don't have to answer. It's not like the quickest to answer wins. Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking about this too. Like I'm kind of thinking about this as well. You're talking about DPI, and then one of the statements all of a sudden throws in DH. So that's it's making me think a little bit.
And this is really good coming off of last week's discussion, Brandon, where we had with catchable versus not catchable versus DPI versus DH versus we had all kind of crap last week, and now we coming back with this play.
Yeah, you know how hard these are. I refer to this as the referee's double action. Yes. Yeah, I know our line of scrimmage and deep officials make these great spots, whether it's line of gain or something, deep officials at the goal line. This is the referee and obviously the center judge now when we have them. Double action, talking about is the knee down before he releases the ball. And man, that is really, really tough. Did you have any of those plays this year?
I did not, but I could just imagine myself squatting and bending and kneeling and doing all kind of stuff to try to see what's going on with the quarterback.
A lot of times those spots are out relatively, compared to this anyway, in the open.
I know.
And this one, you've got a pocket and you've got a player draped all over him.
Right.
And, and then the other thing about this action around the quarterback. So we know that, and we've talked a lot about it, when the quarterback throws the football after being contacted, he's more at risk for what?
IDP action.
You mean intentional grounding?
I mean, it's all right. Yeah, ING, intentional grounding action. Yes.
Yep. And so we can't be so absolute with things that oh my gosh, he threw the ball after the defense contacted him. That is, we automatically must have intentional grounding here. We got to just be careful, because if you really look at this and use common sense, if indeed you're ruling this a pass, okay, talk about the knee, but whatever, just forget about the knee. If we're ruling this a pass, just to me, you can sense the trajectory and the release of that football.
Yes.
Is really, I'm okay that just because he got contact doesn't automatically mean it's going to be a foul. He's throwing that ball very much in a bona fide attempt to get it to that receiver.
Number 10 right there. Exactly.
In my judgment. So I would not. And I would be okay if somebody came to me and said, man, that was kind of weird. Ball never really got anywhere. What do you think about intentional grounding? He's in the pocket. Be like, yeah, but man, he really, his body mechanics to me suggest that he's not just dumping the football to avoid a sack. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean, all these different concepts on these seemingly nothing plays. This isn't so much of a nothing play because we got a foul and then we pick it up, and we want to talk about that. So what are we seeing? You think we want to talk about the poll results here? Or you got anything else before we end the poll?
I think that's it. This is. I love watching these plays because these are current games. I know we keep harping on that, but this is fun, man. This was Howard University. They call Howard University the Mecca for those of y'all who don't know.
Really?
In fact, the vice president is an alumnus or alumni, whatever you call it, of Howard University. This was Delaware State at Howard. This is MEAC football.
Wait, who's the vice president? Oh, of the country?
Of the United States of America, yes. Mrs. Kamala Harris. Yes.
Okay, I didn't understand that. But hey, why did they call it the Mecca? I didn't know that.
I have no idea. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Oh, you're just wealth of knowledge tonight.
I have no clue. So if anybody else knows, maybe they could say it. But maybe we'll see a MEAC and Southland combination because the MEAC is losing 2 teams to the SWAC and the Southland is losing 3 teams to the WAC. So maybe we'll see a MEAC and Southland combination. I thought it was 3. The Texas schools.
There's a lot of WAC. I think the WAC is on fire.
I think it's 4.
Oh gosh. Well, maybe the MEAC and the Southland really should combine. Anyway, we're getting way off track. All right, back to the regular scheduled program.
So 81%. What is 81% saying?
That it's a DH regardless of what happened with the pass. And I'm assuming we're saying that because of the timing of the action versus and we talk about 2-step process. Maybe I should shut up because I'm not a deep official anymore. I'll let Corey talk on this.
All right, so thank you. I think you need to digress out of the deep wing stuff here, at least for now. But I like it that the vast majority of the universe here really nailed this question because we can have a DH that turns into DPI, but only if the other elements of DPI exist. And so we wouldn't have that for a number of different reasons. The proximity of the ball where it is to the receiver being number one, but just because we don't have DPI, we can still go back to that DH. And so this would be a very solid call for DH because, the guy gets grabbed, turned around, held from going out in his route. Many different aspects of this would qualify as a solid DH call. But, for that 2-step process, we see the action as a whole. We have to then find the ball. Is the quarterback being sacked? Is he throwing the ball to a different side of the field? Is he running away from where that action is? There's all those things that we need to process before we throw DH. So DH, OPI, we've hit on both of our major 2-step process fouls. And, we harp on or teach on this a lot because it is something that, it does take practice to get comfortable to not see a foul and immediately throw your flag, because I think every one of us, as we're younger officials, just getting into this, we see a foul, we want to throw that flag right away. So it takes some practice to just kind of hold it a little bit.
Well, and the intent behind the mechanic is ever present on this play, because this guy gets grabbed right at the top of his route, can't make his break inside the way he wants to. Quarterback has to tuck the ball basically, right? Or at least look for another option to throw the football to. And that allows the defense to almost create a sack. So, for anybody saying, how can you call this defensive holding? Look at what happened to the football. But what happened to the football was the result of him having to really readjust himself due to the foul, which disrupted the timing of everything.
So 100%. I mean, look where that quarterback's looking too. I mean, that's
what I'm saying.
When you look back at that quarterback and see he's looking right at your receiver, then he panics because, that was my number one read and I'm screwed now. That should cement any doubt in your head that that's a DH.
But here's what I would add though. Talk about two-step process. If you say, let's say you're on the field, Corey, in this game, and you decide not to throw the flag for defensive holding. Okay, we already understand why it shouldn't be called DPI. I'm not even talking about that. You decide not to call defensive holding because you looked back and and maybe your timing or whatever from wherever your position was, your angle of vision, all these things. You said, look, I didn't throw defensive holding because, the quarterback was really under a bunch of pressure and then the ball came out all kind of funny. So I just decided not to call it. Well, here's the thing. I would say this, write it up. Write it up. And if you're worried about grades, whatever, but at least share that with somebody. Bring it back to the crew. Talk to another deep official. You've got to capture that you made that decision on this play, because if you don't, it's gonna pretty easily be, kind of a drive-by type of thing, and you'll really hamper your ability to grow off making this what would honestly be kind of an incorrect decision.
Yeah, even if you write it up just for one's own self-benefit, for self-evaluation. I mean, at least that way you have record of it, and you're like, okay, I need to go take a look at that. And, writing it up is a great way to remind yourself to do that.
Yeah, and writing it up can mean, good point. Writing it up can mean anything to anybody. It could be simply doing the voice recorder thing like you do.
Right.
It could be writing it in your notes like I think Daniel does. Tuta, I don't know what you do. A lot of guys, if we're fortunate to have alternates on the game, they'll go to the alternate and say, hey, could you take a note for me on play, it's right around 12 minutes. Quarterback was kind of almost getting sacked. The ball came out all kind of weird. I passed on defensive holding. I just want to make sure I remember to look at, something like that. So have a practice, or have what am I trying to say? A framework around how you can capture items like that in real time, so that, forget about the grading, you can perform a very effective self-evaluation on this type of play from whoever position this might be, whether it's the line of scrimmage or the deep wing making this call.
Hey, Corey, answer the two-step process. Roman is asking, would you still call defensive holding when you look back at the quarterback and he has been tackled already? No. I guess, yeah.
No, I would not. If I look back and he's in the process, I mean, he's on the ground, no. I mean, there has to be that element of time where we look back and the ball is still, alive, in an essence of alive, being that it could be passed to that receiver. If the guy's on the ground, that means that action happened while he was probably being sacked, so it had no impact on the play.
Yeah. So, and let me ask cool. All right. Thank you, Corey. Let me ask Brandon, I'm going to steal this new concept you have. I'm going to ask a chat poll, and this may be a layup, and this might be obvious to everyone. Did the pass go beyond the line of scrimmage? This is probably an easy answer. Maybe an easy answer. I don't know. Answer that in the chat. Yes or no? Did the pass go beyond the line of scrimmage?
Well, what are you asking? Are you asking a rules book question, or are you asking a what we're seeing question?
Yes.
Well, then you need to phrase your question differently.
Okay. Well, you ask the question, and you know what I'm asking. You answer the question.
Well, the terminology would be the neutral zone, because.
Okay, the neutral zone. Did the pass go beyond the neutral zone?
I was the guy talking about tacking on and 6'3" something. But now I'm getting all technical on the neutral zone. But the line of scrimmage is really more for, getting, legal formations.
You're absolutely correct, Brent. You're right. I see what you're saying. You're absolutely correct. I used the wrong term. Neutral zone, because that's really the only thing that matters.
Right. I love the chat poll. I mean, it's
more efficient, man.
I think it's more efficient, and it's I don't know. It's cool. Sometimes the polls just take a while. I don't know.
I know.
So we've got we don't get the numbers, but we've got some yeses and we've got some nos. So the question is, did the pass by rule go beyond the neutral zone? Actually, you know what? It crosses the neutral zone. The real question would be, by rule, did the pass cross the neutral zone?
Right. How do I do this?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to share. Look what I got. Look what I got. I got a rule book.
There we go.
How do we know if the pass crossed the neutral zone? It crossed the neutral zone when it first strikes the ground, a player or an official or anything beyond the neutral zone. Mm-hmm. This is rule 2-19-3. It has not crossed the neutral zone when it first strikes the ground, a player, an official, or anything in or behind the neutral zone. 2-19-3 on page FR 37. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and we'll go back and we'll look, Brandon.
Right. Okay.
And why is that important? And I think someone asked it in the poll, and that's kind of why somebody asked it in the chat, and that's why I kind of jumped into that this newfangled on-the-fly chat poll thing that you got going on.
Yeah, we got to come up with a better name.
42-yard line is the line of scrimmage, and the neutral zone is the width of the ball, of course.
Right.
Where was the pass first touched? Behind or beyond that, and we can see the ball ended up going beyond the neutral zone, but you can see the pass hit number 78 right in his back, and number 78 is behind the neutral zone. So by rule, this was not a pass that crossed the neutral zone. That is important because we only have an automatic first down on defensive holding fouls against eligible receivers beyond the neutral zone if the pass goes beyond the neutral zone. This pass did not go beyond the neutral zone, so this would not be a first down if we had defensive holding and we enforced this penalty.
Right. And I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because it did matter in this play. We called DPI. So we rightfully, Utah, we picked up DPI because the pass didn't cross the neutral zone. Now, we understand why, really, two-step process, DPI probably wasn't the most optimal call here, just from a two-step process perspective. So it really does matter to say that, did the pass cross the neutral zone or not? And then you quoted the rule. And I see you're having fun with that. I think it does matter, honestly. I think we should absolutely key in on the pass crossing the neutral zone. It's very, very important.
Absolutely.
Because I know that we've had feedback, not here or tonight, but that, well, if it touches the offense, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So that's not true.
Yeah. Well, guess what I learned today, Brandon? Because I honestly did not know this.
What you learned today?
I'm embarrassing myself. I thought that DPI would be taken off only if the defense tipped the ball. Because I thought when we talk about, it was tipped. I thought we were talking about if the defense tipped the ball.
See, there we go with our slang again. And when we say it was tipped, we always think of that as defense. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And even the motion that our referee makes, which is, that's how it was reported to him.
Right.
Some umpire, probably maybe the line of scrimmage or deep wing said, I got DPI, but let's pick it up. And the umpire said, yeah, ball was tipped.
Right.
And that's what we're going to announce.
And that's not the proper terminology.
Maybe we shouldn't say that. Maybe we should say something like, there's no foul for defensive pass interference. The pass, didn't cross the neutral zone? I mean, should we say that? Or the pass was touched by a player behind the neutral zone? What should we say? Let's come up with something good here.
Yeah, we got to think about that one.
Because we usually just say the pass was tipped.
Right, and that's not.
And I guess it's not terrible. It was tipped by something, I guess.
Right.
Tipped to me implies an intentional act, but good stuff. Touched by a player prior. Yeah. I kind of like where Dan's going.
Something else to think about, just for the calling official here, not to go in a totally new, different direction, because we spent a lot of time on catchability. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but if we're calling DPI, remember, catchability is relative to the receiver who was fouled, not just maybe can anybody catch it. I don't mean that to be smart aleck if it sounds that way, but the way this flight pattern happens and the receiver curls up, like this ball is uncatchable to the receiver who is fouled. So that should be a trigger for us to think, you know what, DPI may not be the right approach here.
Yeah, if you can't get there through two-step process, you're saying maybe you can get there through another.
Right, just another thing. Like if for whatever reason we just miss on that, just another. I think any kind of context clue we can pull in to help us understand why this is not DPI can be effective. And maybe it's just for watching tape, but even then, that's a good lesson for us to evaluate.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this would play out in next week's pregame, guys. This exact play. What do you think would be? How do you think we'd break this down? I mean, hopefully it would be a little, somewhat similar to what we just did. But but you know what? We're not all emotional about this, and maybe somebody said something, and maybe the referee is whatever. I've been called worse that I could come up with, but maybe it's interesting how these types of things can play out. Like, in a study group, this is pretty simple to break down because we got the rule and everything. In a crew dynamic, are there any landmines that can tend to, maybe not this play, but just think about some of our experiences. What happens when emotion gets involved and somebody on the crew would say, we should have left the flag down for defensive holding because clearly he held him, quarterback still had the ball in the pocket. What can happen? I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here based on past experiences. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
Well, anytime that we're going to bring up something that another crew member could have done better, like there's always potential landmines in that conversation for sure.
Okay.
I think that's why, and I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but this is why when we start talking about group dynamics and developing a crew and establishing a crew, we really want to model what it looks like to be growth-minded and be willing to engage in our own deficiencies on a regular basis. Because if we can't create that kind of culture, there's always going to be, and I can't, like, we've all experienced how challenging that is despite our very, very best efforts. But I think that's where you have to start. But yeah, there's always going to be landmines. And so, we need to be careful to not put people in a position where they feel like, they're being
on, maybe.
Yeah, getting beat up on. That's a great way to put it. But at the same time, listen, if you're not here for accountability, it's going to be, you might be on the wrong bus. I'll say that.
Yeah. Hey, but one thing we can do, Daniel, since you mentioned growth mindset, and we haven't talked about some of these soft skills type of things in a while. I read a great article the other day, if anybody's interested, about quieting your ego.
Oh, that was really very good.
In fact, I will. It basically helps us have healthy discourse. And if we have a situation where a crewmate is coming to us and asking about something that we could have done better, if we don't quiet our ego, what could end up happening is we'll just be in attack mode and ready to get into a fight. But if we quiet our ego and realize that maybe we need to evaluate someone else's viewpoint, evaluate someone else's opinion, and also that person should also respect our viewpoint and opinion, then we can both have this discussion and we can actually get somewhere. It was an article by Barry Kaufman about quieting your ego.
Barry Kaufman.
Did it work for you, Tuta?
It's not an Daniel, sir. It's a continual process, much like Dr. Carolyn Dweck teaches about the growth mindset. It's a continual process. You can't quiet your ego and then you're just done. You have to keep working at it.
Okay.
I keep working. I'm trying.
Hey, great, buddy.
What are you guys talking about 739? This is good stuff. What are you talking about 739? What's that all about?
So even if the pass was touched,
okay,
and there's action after the pass was touched, we still have a foul, or we still could have a foul for grabbing, and we would enforce defense. Because a lot of times we'll say, "Oh, it's touched, so there's no DPI." Because that's what I was thinking too. As a matter of fact, the ball's touched, okay, no DPI, and we automatically say that, but that's not necessarily the case. The ball can be touched, and we still have some type of action where the defender or the offensive player is grabbing illegally. Those are the 9-3-4 fouls, I think, or 9-4-3 or 9-3-4. I don't remember which one. We still could have a penalty on the play, even if the ball was touched and there was action after the touch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bill Bishop is on fire tonight.
He is. We're gonna take Bill's keyboard away from him.
I know.
He's a little too excited today.
He's hopped up. I like it. I feel like 10 or 15 yards. Here's what I think, Bill, and everybody that they're getting at when they are kind of not specific. So if it rises to the level of a personal foul,
exactly,
then you would go 15 yards, unnecessary roughness.
That's correct.
But stuff like this, holding, grabbing, illegal contact type of fouls would just be 10 yards. So the rule book is doing us a favor to say, look, if the guy just takes a cheap shot at him and it's been touched or something, yeah, you don't have pass interference, but you can still have unnecessary roughness. That's my take on it. I don't know if it's more complicated than that or not, but I'm not very complicated, as you can tell.
Yeah, I've always took that to mean a personal foul.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this play, it's amazing how these plays can just get us on all these different directions. But it's good to, I don't know, maybe I love going deep and covering so many different concepts on single plays, because all plays really provide the opportunity to do that, right? So this is a broken play. I mean, this is really a broken play. I think it starts RPO, and you can watch. Unfortunately, didn't have too many angles on this, but you can watch kind of the left side of the line, and we're going to be downfield. So what is challenging about this, Tuta, I believe, with our new mechanics, pulling the umpire out of the offensive backfield, or I'm sorry, putting the umpire into the offensive backfield, pulling him out of the defensive backfield. Do you feel like that's putting your crew at risk to miss something like this, or where are you at on that?
I think it does put us at risk simply because we don't have that secondary, that backup person just in case. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I do it all the time. This is probably nobody cares about this, but I'll tell y'all anyway. My apartment door locks on its own, and I can't get back in if I don't have a key. Okay. So sometimes I'll run out. If me and my wife are going somewhere, I'll run out without the key in my hand. If she's not with me and grabs the key, I'm just I was about to say out. I'm butt out in the cold.
Are you locked out of your apartment right now?
I'm locked out. Exactly.
Wow.
So if she's not with me, then there's that backup that's not there. So on a play like this, if the umpire, who we love, we talked about hugging our umpires about a month ago.
Right.
If the umpire is not there and we don't recognize this as line of scrimmage officials, well, guess what? We're just in trouble.
Okay, so you're not actually locked out of your apartment.
Oh yeah, I am. Absolutely. The door locks and I can't.
No. He means right now.
Are you literally or figuratively locked out of your apartment?
Right now.
Figuratively. That was a stupid question, Brandon. I mean, I'm not locked out of my apartment. I'm on the doggone webinar.
There's these things called wireless earphones that could help. But anyways, no, that was funny. I see the analogy now. We started the night talking about analogies.
Yeah, you need people to help you sometimes. Yeah, else you might be in trouble if you forget something.
Right, and nobody needs more help than you. But if you look at so what about the mechanics in this play? Oh, come on. Okay, this isn't wanting to play. See, now I'm locked out of my apartment.
Exactly. That's what you get.
Yep.
Now, if you would like for me to help you, I can screen share and I can bring it up myself. If you ask me nicely, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, do it. Because I want to make a point too on just the action here. And let's talk mechanics and then let's talk action.
Which play was this? Let me make sure I got the right play. Okay, I got it. Now I got to figure out how to share my screen. Come on, Brand. You're asking a lot. You're asking a lot of me today.
I know.
Come on. All right, here we go. Watch this.
No, you're good. I'm just glad you're in your apartment.
Boom. There we go. We got it? Everybody sees it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
You tell me what to do. I don't know what you're about to make a point. I can't read your mind.
I was. So we're talking backside line of scrimmage here.
Yes, but that's not all. To me, that's not always. That's too easy. I think that's too easy and too basic. So you want me to start the play?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. So it's rolling. So obviously line of scrimmage at the top is going to know he's got, potentially trips.
Yep. Boom. What happens here? Here?
So we know he stays in, and his number 2 potential had space. Right. So
Daniel, you still here?
Yeah.
With the block? You're not switching over here?
He's not.
I mean, it's at this point right now. Yeah, I've switched because he's in pass pro. Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right. You scared me.
So yeah, no. Sorry, I'm catching up. Yeah, no. As soon as he post steps and I read pass pro, I'm switching.
Okay. So if I as a line of scrimmage was here, well, now I'm going to go here because I know that my back judge is going to switch. So now we have a switch.
He stays in. Okay, cool. So from there, let's just step this forward.
Okay.
And we've got RPO look here. I mean, play action, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
It's like, what's backside? See, this is what I hate about that. What's backside? Who's supposed to be primary on IDP right now? I have no idea. I guess it's the quarterback's looking towards the top of the screen, but I don't feel like that's backside is defined. And so I just think that's very challenging verbiage. I don't know if we could somehow – I will say this. One thing a coach shared with us a couple years ago, which was, I think, very beneficial. He said very few quarterbacks can fake, like on an RPO, very few quarterbacks can fake one way to one side of the field and then throw to the other. So if you want to use an indicator to define backside, the quarterback faked to his left. And so he's probably going to attempt to throw to his left in college. That's what his point was.
Okay.
And therefore our green arrow would be quote unquote backside. At this point, I know the play is going to break down, but I'm not playing the result. I'm just saying, if you want to have an indicator, that's it.
So are you telling me that I'm not going to work what's presented to me? I'm just going to decide whatever's backside. If it's backside and I'm not on the backside, oh, well, I don't need to worry about the lineman downfield. Is that what you're telling me?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all.
Oh, no. Okay. I thought that's what you were saying.
Say that at all. I was just talking about the indicators of how to read this RPO scheme, which could be challenging.
Right. But if we have awareness on the line of scrimmage, one thing we know is there's only 3 receivers in the route down the field. There's three of our crewmates who are working that downfield. So both of us really should have an idea what's going on in the middle with these linemen, because both of our initial other eligible keys are right there with them.
Yeah. Great point. So those are 2 indicators. Yours is better than mine, honestly. But I've
heard that a lot, Brandon. I've heard that a lot.
Well, that's true. I did think that was interesting what the coach shared. Now, as this play breaks down, I think our antenna has to go up for IDP. And you talk about defining backside. Well, now it becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because now all the action's flowing towards the head line judge at the bottom. So line judge, you really got to recognize that the play has broken down and transition into more of your quote unquote backside responsibilities, I would say.
But let me ask you this though, Brandon. If you're the H at the bottom, what are you working right now? What are you deciding to work? Are you going to work this tackle matchup? Or you're not watching your initial key lay on the ground. I'm hoping you're not looking here. I will hope you're probably looking here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? If you're looking there, you know what you saw run past your eyes?
Yeah.
Two big old dudes who have on 70 something. They ran right past your eye.
I think that's a very fair point. I would just say that from a global perspective, our line of scrimmage guy at the top of the screen is going to be in a great position to observe all this, because it could be just as well that right out by the big 5-0 on the field towards the head line judge side, there could easily be a route where the guy's threatened short. I mean, we see these short routes all the time.
Yep.
So yes, in this specific situation, absolutely the green and blue arrow, especially the blue arrow, would be great to have our eyes there.
Yep. At least having awareness. You don't have to stare at it, but having awareness that, whoa, these dudes ran past here. So, where are they going? I want to know where they're going. And guess what? We started on the big line. So this one really should be able to help us out a little bit, because we started on the big line. So it shouldn't be that hard to, of course, I'm saying shouldn't be that hard. Everything is so simple when you're sitting at home.
Stop it.
Right. Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Run it back real quick.
Absolutely.
For this, just another point. It's really interesting. If you watch the left, I believe it's going to be the left guard.
Okay.
So just step through it. Left guard. Look at how he initiates contact right there on the line. You talk about the line of scrimmage. That's the line of scrimmage. And then drives.
Yes.
Really, that's legal. I mean, that's all legal. He keeps driving, keep going, driving. And to his credit, he actually quits his drive at about 2. And he kind of drifts a little bit. Now the ball's on. He's kind of at 4.
Mm-hmm.
But look at his buddy right to his right. To the left on our screen.
Yeah.
He then kind of finishes this guy off at about 4.5, 5.
Yeah.
So, and if you play it back one more time, watch, that's the center. So what I wanted to point out is that this is a good example of how, if the ball, and this isn't, because the ball's thrown into the side zone deep. Okay, now step forward. Look at, go back and watch. Just focus on the center, I believe. Because the center engages right there. So really, this would not be, the left guard was driving beyond 1 and blocking downfield, but he started his contact at the line.
You're talking about for OPI consideration? Yes,
so
exactly.
Let's say
exactly, yes.
Because that guy with his left foot at the keep going. So watch, the wingback actually does get into a route, and then he's going to end up just beyond the big line. See that? Just pause it. Okay.
Yep.
Let's say they throw it to the wingback.
Yes.
That is OPI.
Yes.
By the center. Believe it or not.
Yes.
Because he engaged more than 1 yard downfield.
He did.
It would not be OPI by the left guard, even though, look, the left guard right there, keep going just a little bit. Step forward a little bit. The left guard really is, I mean, he does a pretty good job of disengaging, but just he drives a little bit. Doesn't matter. He could drive up until 3 if he initiates within 1.
That's correct.
However, the center initiates out, beyond 1. And if we throw it to the wingback right here, that's standing at the plus 45 going in, 45 going in, that is OPI by the center. So I thought
OPI on this dude.
Yeah.
And not OPI on this dude.
Correct.
Yes.
And it's that weird rule that we don't talk probably enough about, where you can block down field within 3 if you started as a lineman blocking within 1.
That's correct.
That is confusing to me. But this, I just saw this and I'm like, this is an interesting play that you can do a bunch of what ifs. None of this applies to what actually happens. but side by side, you can show this action and say, this is what we're talking about. If we throw it to the wing back, just put the left guard, forget about the center for a second. Just watch the left guard's action. Totally legal if we throw it to the wing back.
Because he's disengaged. He disengaged, exactly. And he started like you said, at the line, and then he disengaged.
The center now goes out and seeks that guy out right there, about 2.5 yards. If we throw it to the wing back here, OPI, even if, by the way, the block doesn't get beyond 3. Still OPI because he didn't initiate within 1.
Correct.
Okay, so these are crazy concepts that we are being tested by awesome football minds to exploit every possible, tweak in the rule.
Yes.
And I'm not saying any of this was intentional. Actually, what I'm even talking about didn't even happen. But when I saw this action, I said, goodness sakes, this is a really good representation of what would be a legal block downfield from the line of scrimmage and what would potentially be an illegal block downfield from the line of scrimmage because of where the block originated.
Yeah.
And they're testing us. We put up 4 plays like 5 weeks ago where they're testing the heck out of us.
Exactly. I think also we can take away, if we are a line of scrimmage official, whenever we see RPO action, if the timing gets thrown off just a little bit, we have a really high potential for some IDP action. Because you can see this is an RPO, and he patted the ball. He was supposed to be throwing to the left side, like you mentioned earlier, Brandon. You said the coaches told him, well, look, he can't throw. If he was throwing to that number 2 receiver, he can't throw to him because that ball would get picked. So he had to pat the ball, find somewhere else to go. Well, by that time, not a lineman or downfield. They thought the ball was going to be gone already. So now we got all kind of other crap going on.
Yep. So, again.
And, of course, they have this angle, which is really cool. I love these sidelines.
I know.
These handheld
This guy is killing it in the spring with these camera angles. And plus, their officiating is excellent, by the way.
Look at this. Look at the big lineman downfield.
Cool. So cool. I didn't get that, but
the
camera went out a little bit. That's all right. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. I know we went deep on stuff that maybe didn't happen as much there, but that's just, gosh, you could use every single one of those plays too, Ty, for your pregame. And, just to see where everybody's at, especially if you're working crews with, what's challenging is working mixed crews and you don't really know, maybe, I know, like, okay, let's say I got a crew with Daniel. I worked with Daniel.
God help you.
Well, but I've worked with Daniel 5 years.
Bad chase.
I kind of know what I'm going to get. I'm not going to say what I'm going to get, but I kind of know what I'm going to get. No. Now, there's somebody new in the league or whatever. We got to put plays up that we can generate the discussion to bring out. I'm just telling you from a crew chief perspective, it's so important to understand what I'm going to get.
Yep.
So, all right.
Whew. All right. Another one is in the books. This was number 33.
33.
33.
Great work. Great work, guys. Let's do it again next week.
I'm in.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, y'all. You guys have a great week out there. Keep sending us the plays. Watch some football. As always, if you have any questions about the things that we have covered in this or any of our virtual study groups, be sure to email us and we will get an answer out to you. But without any further ado, y'all have a good night.